Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Chaos Zero Nightmare video. So let's talk about team building. So right now, I want to talk a little bit more about this because I think a lot of players have been asking me what's going to be the best teams, etc, etc. So as you can see right now, these are the characters I've obtained in my reroll account. So after doing like almost 7 hours reroll, managed to get 3 5 stars, which is Kalip, Renoa, and Veronica. Now yours might look different, and that's totally fine. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a guide or a hint on what you can do regardless of what team you have. Alright, so that's going to be very important. So first things first, if you are not aware already, ideally in this game in Chaos Zero Nightmare, there's this chaos mode, and mostly this is going to basically be about chaos mode, chaos manifestation. This is the roguelike mode, right? Basically you go into some of this chaos mode. You can only use 3 characters, by the way. Alright, 3 characters, and then what you are going to do is every time you set things up, you are going to be able to save those presets right here in the combatants area. Alright, so you are going to be able to get all of those things accordingly. If they have gears in that particular run, then you are going to basically be using that particular gears accordingly. So as you can see, these are going to be my one for Renoa specifically. So you are going to need 2 teams eventually. So for now, early game, you might just need 1 team, but later on you are going to need 2 teams of 3. Alright, 3 teams, so 3 plus 3, 6 characters in total. That's going to be a little bit expensive early on. So for now, just focus on having 1 team. But the same concept applies. Ideally, when you're building a team, you need 3 things that is going to be able to help you to give you the comfort in trying to navigate around in the chaos mode run so that you can have the best possible one. So first things first, I would highly recommend a shielder. Alright, in my opinion, shielder is the priority. Now I'm going to explain why. Survivability is very important in Chaos Zero Nightmare. If you guys are not aware already, if you haven't seen how the combat works, your characters share the same HP. Alright, so all of them have their own individual HP. So therefore, if one character die, the entire team die. Does it make sense? So it's like you either, if everyone dies, you just lose the entire run and you have to restart everything all over again. And especially in the chaos run, I'm not sure how many of you guys have tried to play it. It can take like 40 minutes, sometimes even 1 hour, right? Depending on how long the run is. Having a shielder is just going to help you survive. Alright, survivability is by far the most important and most crucial thing in this particular game. Now the 3 main shielders in this game is going to be either Kalip, alright, you can also consider using Magna, which is going to be this girl right here. She also can serve you as a shielder. And the last one, the best 4-star in my opinion right now for the shielder is going to be Maribel. I think she's going to be very good. And in most cases, this girl is insane, right? Don't sleep on her. So Maribel, I think like she's like top 3 4-stars right now in my opinion. The amount of shield that she can give you, alright, mitigate the damage is going to be way better. Why do you need a shielder, right? Why not just bring supporters to heal your characters? That's a very good question. So if you get hit while you have a shield, you basically mitigate the damage. But if you take damage, your stress bar build up. Alright, for those of you who are not aware, the stress bar thing is basically what makes your character go into the PTSD mode or whatever that thing is called, right? I'm not sure what the term is, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So once you go into that mode, and then of course you can heal back, but generally it's just going to be better for you to prevent that from happening so that your run can be smoother in a lot of ways, right? Mitigating damage is going to reduce the your stress bar from constant build up. That's going to be the main reason. In my opinion, shielder is probably going to be the most important role in a team. Alright, now let's talk about the next team then. The next character, that's going to be the DPS character. So in this particular case, I have Renoa right here, single target DPS. Now you might be able to get away with doing 2 DPS or 3 DPS characters depending on how you look at it, right? So right now you can see if you are trying to build, let's say, a team, we have plenty of DPS characters in the game, right? So Luke is also a very decent DPS character. There's also going to be Rain right here. Alright, this is going to be an option. And then of course you have Mei-Ling. I think Mei-Ling is going to be one of the better DPS characters. She's very cheap in terms of her cost. Of course, you have Veronica as well, and then Renoa, and of course Hugo has sort of like a follow-up kind of thing. Very strong as well. Of course, Haru is going to be there as a DPS character. We also got Kairon. From what I gather, Kairon's skills are quite expensive, right? So you have to have a character to give him AP to be able to constantly do damage, right? But other than that, he's going to be able to do AoE and single target for you. So that's going to be that for the particular equation. And of course, if you're talking about 4 stars, in my opinion, one of the better DPS character that you get for free is going to be Tressa. Alright, for a 4-star, lower rarity, she's just insane, right? So consider her as an option. If you want to build like a free-to-play team, I would say probably get her in the second team later on, right? So that's going to be something to consider. So now that you have your shielder, you have your DPS character, right? So both are going to be straightforward. Who is going to be in the last one, the last slot? So this slot can be flexed depending on what you're trying to do, but I think one of the better characters in the game, one of the most flexible one is going to be Mika right here. She's for very, very flexible support. In my opinion, if you don't know who to put, just put her in. She's very insane, right? So she's going to be able to do a bunch of things for you. So she can also give you SP, which is going to be very, very important. This one, I mean AP. Why did I say SP? AP in this game, she has a couple of healing cards as well. She can also do a little bit of damage from time to time. And she's a very cheap character because quite a number of her cards are, you know, some of these have 0 AP, right? So it's just a AP positive character. So generally, if you're pairing with a heavy character that requires a lot of AP, alright, for example, I think Kairon is one of the few, then going with Mika is going to be quite good. Now, if you don't have Mika, I think everybody have her, right? But if you, let's say you don't want to use her, you prefer another character, Orlia is going to be the 5-star support, alright? She can be a better Mika in a lot of cases. If you look at the cards right here, as you can see, she can also do a little bit of damage. However, she doesn't give back AP as much as Mika, it seems like. So Orlia is much more of a support slash DPS in a way, right? So she is going to be very, very good in that particular case. One more character that you can consider is going to be Nia right here, which I do not have. She is going to be very good as well. She can also heal. She can also do a little bit of damage. She also helps with the extra attack. So if you have Hugo, the furry, you should consider putting Nia in your team, right? So that's going to be a very good pair, Hugo and Nia, because of this Epiphany card. You can see some of this is going to give you a 200% extra attack to a random enemy. So she helps out with some of those. Now another support for 4-star is going to be Cassius right here, which I do not have, right? So Cassius is also going to be quite strong. Now what makes Cassius really, really good is he can basically draw a lot of cards out if you need certain specific cards. Like for example, Renova is going to be one of the few example. He has the ability to draw one right here, can also discard all cards in hand, draw as many as the numbers discarded. So all of these are going to make him for a very, very good support if you are looking to basically help search for a specific card, and if a character or a DPS character especially needs a certain specific card to work, then that's going to be where Cassius comes in. All in all, I would say all of these are going to be very, very good. Cassius, Nia, Mika, these are the top 3 supports for the 4-star, and of course Orlia is going to be a very strong support for the 5-star. Now Mika is going to be somebody that everybody has access to, I assume, so make sure you guys consider building her if you're not aware of who to build. So with that, that is going to be pretty much what it is, right? To build a team, you have a shielder, you have a DPS character, and then you have a support in that particular case. Now, one of the best free-to-play team that you can build early on consists of 4 stars, right? Now, it's going to be something like this. You want a DPS, so you can use Tressa as a DPS character, you can use Maribel as a shielder, and then of course you can use, in this case, Mika as your support characters. So this is going to be a very cheap option for a lot of players. If you want to, you can go with this. Now let's bring up some of the examples that Britwen has. Now there's going to be a number of other ones that's recommended right here. So a lot of these are going to be having some sort of synergy amongst each other. You can see Hugo, like I mentioned, very, very strong synergy with Nia specifically. But if you don't have Nia, feel free to just use Mika, it works too, right? And then of course the last one is going to be Maribel. In my opinion, Maribel is better as a shielder, right? So therefore running 2 DPS I think is fine, but you know, can be a little bit greedy, and sometimes you need the survivability, right? So in most cases, Kairon, you know, with Mika, that's going to work. So Maribel again on the last slot, very, very good flex. Of course, we got Luke and Nia right here, which is going to help that. Maylin apparently pairs really well with one of these two, Nia or Cassius, because Maylin doesn't really need the AP compared to a lot of other characters. I think comparatively, for a DPS character, Maylin is probably one of the... There's a reason why she's like the reroll target for recommendation, right? In terms of one of the best DPS early on, because her cards are just very, very cheap. You can see, right? She has 1 cost, 1 cost, 1 cost, 1 cost. She has 1 0 cost card here, 1 cost, 1 cost, and then her highest cost card is like a 2 cost, right? Which is like so easy to fit into any team. I would say if you guys want to consider like a strong DPS, please consider building her, right? Maylin is going to be a very strong one, very, very budget friendly, doesn't have high AP requirements compared to the other DPS characters. Now of course Renova, alright, pairs really well with of course Nia and I mean Cassius here. But of course, if you don't have any of these, feel free to use Mika. Same goes with Rin and Mika, that works as well. Alright, Maribel is going to be the last one for the shield. As you can see, it's pretty much going to be consistent. Alright, you have 1 DPS, 1 support, and 1 shielder. This is going to be pretty much the team that I'm using right now. I have, of course, Khalib, and then I got Mika, but I am using a DPS character in my last slot, right? So Khalib can do a little bit of both. She can do both AoE and of course DPS as well. However, based on my experience, if the enemy is still a single target, Renoa is still going to be better. So this is going to be with the team that I'm running right now. So we got DPS, Shielder, and of course we got AP Regenerator, in this case support Mika. So this is pretty much the basic concept for team building in Chaos Zero Nightmare. Hopefully you guys are aware of how to build your team now. With that, hopefully you guys will enjoy the game more. Pay attention to the synergy, pay attention to the cards. I'll try to make more guides as we move on. With that being said, if you guys want to play it using emulator, which is LD player, I think some of you guys are experiencing difficulty. I don't know, I keep reading comments and in my chat people are saying Stove client is like extremely buggy. I'll have the LD player referral link in the description below so you guys can download it and play it using the emulator, right? It works very well there as well. So with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Subscribe, give this video a like, have a nice day, goodbye.